The discovery. The void between stars held no mercy for the weak. Admiral Xerxes understood this truth as he stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Kelvarian dreadnought Stellar Dominion. His 4 arms crossed behind his back, the veteran commander surveyed the tactical display with eyes that had witnessed 3 decades of galactic conquest. The Kelvarian Empire had claimed 17 star systems through superior technology and ruthless efficiency. Today, they would add the Proxima Centauri system to their collection. "Admiral, we have an anomalous reading on long-range sensors," reported Lieutenant Vex from the scanning station. The young officer's voice carried a hint of excitement that only came with discovering something new in the endless black of space. Xerxes turned his elongated head toward the sensor station, his pale blue skin catching the soft glow of the bridge lights. "Specify the nature of this anomaly, Lieutenant." "Unknown vessel, sir. Configuration does not match any known galactic civilization in our databases. The ship appears to be drifting approximately 2 million kilometers from our current position." Dr. Nexos, the fleet's chief science officer, looked up from his research console with genuine curiosity. His large, multifaceted eyes reflected the data streams flowing across his screens. "Admiral, this could be our first encounter with a previously unknown spacefaring species. The scientific implications alone justify a thorough investigation." Xerxes considered the options. The Kelvarian Empire had built its reputation on swift, decisive action. Unknown variables were either eliminated or absorbed into their growing domain. "Set course for the vessel. Battle stations, but maintain defensive posture. We approach with caution until we understand what we are dealing with." The Stellar Dominion adjusted its massive bulk through space, its escort fleet of 12 cruisers maintaining perfect formation. As they drew closer, the mysterious vessel began to resolve on their screens with greater clarity. "Visual contact established," announced the communications officer. The main view screen flickered to life, displaying their target against the star-filled backdrop of space. The ship before them defied immediate classification. Its hull appeared to be constructed from a dark, metallic material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The vessel measured roughly 800 meters in length, with a sleek design that suggested both speed and durability. However, several sections of the hull showed obvious damage, with what appeared to be burn marks and torn metal plating. "The vessel appears to be disabled," observed Commander Kaltos, Xerxes' second-in-command. "Emergency lighting is minimal, and I detect no active propulsion signatures." Dr. Nexos was already running preliminary scans from his station. "Admiral, initial readings suggest the ship contains atmosphere suitable for carbon-based life forms. I am detecting multiple biological signatures aboard the vessel." "How many?" Xerxes asked, his tactical mind already calculating potential threats. "Approximately 15 to 20 individuals, though the readings are somewhat unclear due to interference from their hull material." Xerxes studied the damaged vessel with growing interest. "What kind of interference?" "The hull composition is unlike anything in our databases. It appears to incorporate elements that naturally deflect sensor probes. This could indicate advanced defensive technology, though given the vessel's current state, such systems may have been damaged in whatever conflict left them drifting." The communications officer suddenly straightened at his station. "Admiral, I am receiving a weak distress signal from the vessel. The signal is in an unknown language, but our universal translator is making progress." "What does it say?" "The message is fragmentary, but it appears to be a standard distress call. They identify themselves as the Starship Endurance and request assistance with critical system failures." Xerxes nodded slowly. A disabled vessel with survivors presented both opportunity and risk. "Dr. Nexos, I want a full sensor sweep of that ship. Learn everything you can about their technology, their crew, and their capabilities. If they pose no threat, we may be able to extract valuable information before deciding their fate." "Understood, Admiral. Beginning comprehensive scan now." Dr. Nexos activated the Stellar Dominion's most advanced sensor array. Waves of energy swept toward the human vessel, designed to penetrate hull plating and analyze everything from molecular composition to biological activity. The Kelvarian scientist had performed such scans countless times on derelict vessels and enemy ships, but something about this particular scan felt different from the moment it began. "Admiral, the initial results are unusual," Dr. Nexos reported after several minutes of analysis. "Define unusual. The hull material is not simply deflecting our sensors. It appears to be selectively filtering what information we receive. I am getting clear readings on some systems, while others remain completely opaque to our scans." Commander Kaltos frowned. Could this be evidence of active countermeasures? Perhaps the ship is not as disabled as it appears. Possible, but unlikely. The energy signatures I am detecting suggest genuine system failures throughout the vessel. However, there are aspects of their technology that are concerning. Zirex felt the familiar tingle of anticipation that came before significant discoveries. Elaborate. Their power systems, for instance, while clearly damaged, they operate on principles I do not recognize. The energy output patterns suggest a level of efficiency that exceeds our own technology by a considerable margin. "Show me." Dr. Nexos transferred his readings to the main display. The screen filled with complex energy patterns and technical readouts that painted a picture of technology far more sophisticated than their initial assessment had suggested. These power cores appear to be some form of controlled fusion reaction, but the containment method is completely alien to us. They are generating enormous amounts of energy with remarkably little fuel consumption. Lieutenant Vex looked up from his station with obvious excitement. "Sir, if we could acquire samples of their technology." "One thing at a time, Lieutenant," Zirex cautioned. "Dr. Nexos, what can you tell me about the crew?" The science officer adjusted his instruments to focus on the biological signatures within the human vessel. "This is where the readings become truly puzzling, Admiral. The life forms aboard that ship are unlike anything in our xenobiology databases. Unknown species. Not exactly unknown, but modified. Their biological signatures suggest they are fundamentally humanoid, similar to dozens of species we have encountered. However, there are anomalies in their physiology that I cannot explain." Dr. Nexus highlighted specific areas of the ship on his display. For example, their cardiovascular systems show enhancement patterns that suggest artificial modification. Their brain activity registers at levels that should be impossible for organic neural networks. "Genetic engineering," suggested Commander Kaltos. "Possibly, but if so, it represents a level of biological manipulation far beyond what we have seen from any known civilization. These beings appear to have integrated technological components directly into their organic systems." Admiral Zirex felt a cold certainty settling in his stomach. In his experience, species that modify themselves so extensively did so for only one reason: war. "Continue your analysis, Doctor. I want to know everything about these beings before we make contact." Aboard the human vessel Endurance, Captain Sarah Chen lay perfectly still in her command chair, her eyes closed and her breathing reduced to barely perceptible levels. To external observers, she appeared to be unconscious or perhaps dying from injuries sustained in whatever battle had left her ship drifting in space. In reality, Sarah was wide awake and fully aware of every sensor sweep the alien vessel was conducting. Her enhanced nervous system, augmented with quantum processing nodes, allowed her to maintain complete awareness while presenting the appearance of unconsciousness. The technique was called Deep Stealth Protocol, and every member of her crew had mastered it during their extensive training. "Captain," whispered Chief Engineer Marcus Rodriguez through the subdermal communication implant they all shared, "they are conducting a Level 7 sensor sweep. Do you want me to activate the countermeasures?" Sarah considered the question. The Endurance was equipped with sensor deflection systems that could completely mask their true capabilities, but such systems would also reveal the ship's active status. Better to let the aliens see what they expected to see: a damaged vessel with dying crew members. Negative on the countermeasures, Marcus. Let them scan. They will find exactly what we want them to find. The truth was that the Endurance was not damaged at all. The burn marks and torn plating were carefully crafted illusions, designed to make the ship appear vulnerable while concealing its true nature. The vessel was actually one of humanity's most advanced deep space reconnaissance ships, sent to gather intelligence on the expanding Kelvarian Empire. Dr. Martinez, what are you reading from their scans? Sarah asked silently. Dr. Elena Martinez, the ship's xenobiology specialist, was monitoring the alien sensor sweeps from her position in the science bay. They are getting surface-level readings on our biological signatures, Captain. The genetic masking is holding. They see enhanced humanoids, but they cannot detect the full extent of our modifications. This was crucial to their mission. Humans had spent the last century preparing for eventual contact with hostile alien civilizations. The process had required fundamental changes to human biology, psychology, and technology. Every member of Sarah's crew represented the pinnacle of human evolution, enhanced, adapted, and prepared for whatever the galaxy might throw at them. Engineering, status report, Sarah commanded through her implants. Marcus's voice came back immediately. All systems are operating at optimal efficiency, Captain. The damaged hull plating is holding position, and our power signatures are masked to appear as failing fusion reactors. They have no idea we are running on quantum cores. Excellent. Maintain current status. Let them think they have discovered a helpless vessel with primitive technology. Back on the Kelvarian flagship, Dr. Nexus was growing increasingly disturbed by his findings. Each new scan revealed layers of complexity that challenged his understanding of both biology and technology. Admiral, I need to show you something, he announced, his voice carrying a tone of barely controlled excitement mixed with fear. Zirex approached the science station, where Dr. Nexus had compiled his most recent findings. What have you discovered? I have been analyzing the neural activity of the beings aboard that vessel. Look at these patterns. The display showed brainwave readings that defied conventional understanding. The neural activity was not only incredibly complex, but also appeared to be synchronized across multiple individuals. Are they communicating telepathically? Zirex asked. I do not believe so. This appears to be something far more sophisticated. They seem to be sharing processing power across their entire crew, creating a distributed intelligence network that spans their entire ship. Commander Keltos leaned in to examine the readings. Are you suggesting they function as a collective consciousness? Not exactly a collective, but something approaching it. Each individual maintains their distinct personality and decision-making capability, but they can share knowledge, sensory input, and even computational processes instantaneously. Admiral Zirex felt his confidence beginning to erode. What kind of species develops such capabilities? The kind that has faced extinction and adapted to survive, Dr. Nexus replied grimly. These modifications represent generations of genetic and technological evolution, driven by necessity. This is not a peaceful species that has developed such capabilities for exploration or scientific advancement. You believe they are warriors. I believe they are survivors, Admiral. And in my experience, survivors are far more dangerous than warriors. The implications were staggering. If this unknown species had developed such advanced integration of biology and technology, what other capabilities might they possess? More importantly, how many of them were there, and what were their intentions in this region of space? Continue your analysis, Zirex ordered. I want to know everything about these beings before we make any decisions about first contact. As Dr. Nexus resumed his scans, he could not shake the feeling that they were not observing helpless survivors, but rather apex predators who had learned to appear weak while concealing unimaginable strength. The next phase of his analysis would reveal just how right he was. The terrifying truth. Dr. Nexus initiated the deepest level of scanning available to Kelvarian science, a procedure normally reserved for analyzing the most complex alien artifacts. The energy beams that swept toward the human vessel carried enough power to penetrate neutronium plating and analyze matter at the subatomic level. What they revealed about the beings aboard the Endurance would haunt his dreams for the rest of his life. "Admiral," Dr. Nexus called out, his voice strained with disbelief. "You need to see this immediately." Zirex abandoned his command position and strode to the science station, where Dr. Nexus was staring at readings that seemed to defy the laws of biology as they understood them. "These life forms are not simply enhanced," Dr. Nexus began, his hands trembling as he manipulated the display controls. "They have been fundamentally redesigned from the molecular level up." The main screen filled with a three-dimensional biological scan of one of the humans aboard the Endurance. Captain Sarah Chen's body was revealed in extraordinary detail, showing modifications that left the Kelvarian scientists speechless. "Look at their cardiovascular system." Dr. Nexus pointed to the pulsing network of arteries and veins. "They have dual hearts, redundant oxygen delivery systems, and blood that appears to be enhanced with synthetic oxygen carriers. They could survive in environments that would kill most known species within minutes." Commander Kaltos examined the readings with growing alarm. "Are you saying they do not require the same atmospheric conditions as other humanoids?" "They appear capable of surviving in vacuum for extended periods. Their skin shows evidence of adaptive properties that could seal wounds instantly and regulate internal pressure. But that is not the most disturbing discovery." Dr. Nexus highlighted the human nervous system, revealing a neural network that incorporated both organic tissue and quantum processing nodes. "Their brains have been augmented with computing systems that exceed the processing power of our ship's main computer. Each individual possesses the analytical capability of an entire Kelvarian research team." Admiral Zirex felt his blood chill as he realized the implications. How is such integration possible without rejection or system failure? They appear to have solved the fundamental problem of biological-technological interface through genetic modification that goes back multiple generations. These are not individuals who were enhanced during their lifetimes. This is an entire species that has evolved specifically for technological integration. The science officer pulled up additional scans showing the humans' muscular and skeletal systems. Their physical strength has been enhanced through synthetic muscle fibers that provide approximately 10 times the power output of baseline humanoid physiology. Their bones incorporate crystalline structures that make them nearly unbreakable while remaining flexible. Lieutenant Vex looked up from his station with obvious fear. "Sir, if these beings possess such capabilities, why do they appear to be disabled and helpless?" The question hung in the air like a death sentence. Dr. Nexus resumed his scans with renewed urgency, focusing on the ship's systems rather than its crew. What he found confirmed their worst fears. "Admiral, the damage to their vessel is superficial. The burn marks and torn plating are positioned to conceal fully functional systems underneath. This ship is not disabled." "Deception," whispered Commander Kaltos. "Sophisticated deception," Dr. Nexus confirmed. "Their power systems are not failing fusion reactors as we initially believed. They are operating some form of quantum energy source that produces virtually unlimited power with no detectable fuel consumption." The implication struck Admiral Zirex like a physical blow. "They have been observing us while we scanned them." "Not only observing," Dr. Nexus continued his analysis with desperate efficiency. "Their sensors are far more advanced than ours. While we have been conducting surface scans of their vessel, they have been performing detailed analysis of our entire fleet." The tactical display updated to show new information as Dr. Nexus redirected his instruments toward their own ships. "Admiral, they know everything about our vessels, our weapons, our defenses, our crew complement, even our tactical formations. They have been gathering intelligence while appearing helpless." Admiral Zirex felt the weight of command crushing down upon him. In 30 years of military service, he had never encountered a species capable of such sophisticated deception. "What else can you tell me about their capabilities?" Dr. Nexus worked frantically at his controls, pulling up scan data that painted an increasingly terrifying picture. Their weapon systems are integrated throughout the ship in ways that make them nearly invisible to conventional scans. What we initially identified as structural support beams are actually energy conduits for weapons that could destroy our entire fleet. How many weapons? Admiral, their entire ship is a weapon. Every surface, every system, every component has been designed for combat efficiency. This is not a vessel with weapons attached. This is a weapon that happens to be shaped like a ship. The bridge fell silent as the crew absorbed this information. They had encountered plenty of warships during their conquest of the galaxy, but nothing like this. This was a level of military technology that existed beyond their understanding. There is more, Dr. Nexos continued, his voice barely above a whisper. The crew modifications are not limited to physical enhancement. I am detecting memory storage systems that contain the combined knowledge and experience of their entire species. What do you mean? Each individual carries the memories and skills of thousands of others. They have access to the collective experience of their entire civilization. Every tactical engagement, every scientific discovery, every piece of cultural knowledge is available to each crew member instantly. Commander Kaltos stared at the readings in horror. They are immortal. Not immortal, but functionally so. Death for them is merely the transfer of consciousness and memory to another body. They have eliminated death as a limiting factor in their development. The main screen shifted to show the interior of the Endurance. Captain Sarah Chen sat in her command chair, no longer pretending to be unconscious. Her eyes were alert and intelligent, and when she spoke, it was in perfect Kelvarian. Greetings, Admiral Zirex of the Kelvarian Empire. I am Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Colonial Defense Force vessel Endurance. We apologize for the deception, but it was necessary to observe your capabilities before making formal contact. Admiral Zirex found his voice with difficulty. You speak our language. We speak all languages, Admiral. Our neural enhancements include universal translation capabilities that analyze speech patterns, body language, and even pheromone emissions to achieve perfect communication with any species. Dr. Nexos leaned toward his admiral and whispered urgently, Sir, while she has been speaking, I have detected microtransmissions being sent throughout this star system. They are communicating with other vessels. Captain Chen smiled, and the expression was somehow more terrifying than any threat could have been. Dr. Nexos is correct. We are not alone. The Endurance is one of 50 ships currently positioned throughout Kelvarian space. We have been observing your empire for several years. Observing for what purpose? Admiral Zirex demanded. To determine whether your species represents a threat to human expansion into this region of the galaxy. Your military actions against less advanced civilizations suggested that contact would inevitably lead to conflict. Commander Kaltos stepped forward. Are you threatening the Kelvarian Empire? We do not threaten, Commander. We prepare. Humans learned long ago that survival requires constant adaptation and overwhelming superiority when facing potential enemies. Captain Chen stood from her chair, and the simple movement somehow conveyed deadly grace and power. Your scans have revealed some of our capabilities, but you have barely scratched the surface. Each member of my crew is worth 1,000 of your warriors in combat effectiveness. Our ship could destroy your entire fleet without sustaining significant damage. Then why reveal yourselves? Admiral Zirex asked. Because extermination is inefficient. We prefer cooperation when possible. The Kelvarian Empire has two choices: peaceful coexistence and mutual benefit, or elimination as a threat to human expansion. Dr. Nexus was frantically analyzing every word and gesture, trying to determine the extent of human capabilities. Captain Chen, our scans suggest your species has undergone extensive modification. What drove such extreme evolution? Survival. Doctor, 300 years ago, humanity faced extinction at the hands of a species much like yours. We were unprepared, naive, and nearly destroyed. Those who survived swore that humanity would never again be vulnerable to any threat. The bridge crew listened in stunned silence as Captain Chen continued. We redesigned ourselves from the ground up. Enhanced intelligence, perfect physical conditioning, technological integration, collective memory storage, and absolute dedication to human survival. Every human alive today represents the culmination of centuries of directed evolution. And now you expand throughout the galaxy, Admiral Zirex said. We expand because we must. Every world we claim makes humanity safer. Every potential threat we eliminate ensures our species will survive. We have learned that the universe is hostile to the weak. Lieutenant Vex looked up from his station with panic in his voice. Admiral, I am detecting massive energy signatures throughout the system. The human ships are powering their weapons. Captain Chen's expression remained calm. A demonstration, Admiral. Observe. The tactical display updated to show 50 points of light, scattered throughout the Proxima Centauri system. As they watched, each light began to pulse with energy levels that exceeded anything in their experience. Each of those vessels possesses the firepower to sterilize an entire planet, Captain Chen explained. Combined, they could reduce this star system to cosmic dust within hours. Admiral Zirex felt his hands shaking as he realized the true scope of what they faced. What do you want from us? The Kelvarian Empire will halt all military expansion immediately. You will withdraw from all conquered systems and confine yourselves to your original territorial boundaries. In exchange, we will share selected technologies that will improve your civilization's development. And if we refuse, Captain Chen's smile disappeared. Then you will join the 7 other species that have refused our offer. They exist now only in our historical databases. The bridge fell completely silent. Admiral Zirex understood that he was not negotiating with another military commander. He was facing the representative of a species that had transformed itself into the perfect predator, one that viewed the entire galaxy as its rightful territory. I will need to consult with our government, Zirex said finally. Of course, you have 72 hours to provide your answer. We suggest you choose wisely. The transmission ended, leaving the Kelvarian fleet alone with the terrifying knowledge of what humanity had become. As Admiral Zirex looked at the readings from Dr. Nexus' scans, he realized that the age of Kelvarian expansion was over. They had encountered a species that made their empire's greatest achievements look like primitive attempts at civilization. In the depths of space, 50 human vessels waited patiently for the Kelvarian response, their crews prepared for any outcome. Humanity had learned to hope for peace but prepare for war, and they were very, very good at war. The scan of a single human ship had revealed the truth that would reshape the galaxy. Humanity was no longer the weak species that had nearly faced extinction centuries ago. They had become something far more dangerous than any alien empire could imagine. They had become perfect.